What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Harry the Horse Barbecue, and today we're making some slow smoked beef back ribs. No beef ribs? No prime rib? No problem. We got you covered. Let's get it.
Harry the Horse Barbecue.
Beef back ribs. Now the terminology between ribs can get kind of confusing. You've got your pork ribs with your baby backs, your full spares, your St. Louis cuts. You've got your beef ribs that can be chuck beef ribs, you can have plate beef ribs, you can have dino ribs, you could have beef back ribs, a lot of different cuts to choose from, but they're not all from the same part of the animal. The beef back rib is essentially the bony backside of the prime rib roast. If you've ever cooked a prime rib roast for Christmas or a major holiday, or just on any occasion, if you get a bone-in prime rib roast, those bones are the beef back ribs. Now, oftentimes when these are sold, they are pretty thin because they're trying to maximize the amount of steak that's left onto a prime rib. But when cooked correctly, you can get some nice, juicy, beefy bites out of some beef back ribs. This recipe couldn't be easier. A quick smoke on some beef back ribs will get us some super tender, almost prime rib-like beef ribs at the end of this, and I'm super stoked for that. So in order to make these beef back ribs, we gotta go shopping for some beef back ribs. These beef back ribs are actually looking really good. If you're looking for beef chuck ribs or beef back ribs, in my experience, local grocery stores usually have access to these pretty frequently. I picked these superior Angus beef back ribs up at my local restaurant depot. There's 2 in a pack. They were actually marketed as meaty, meaning they left a little bit more meat on these, hopefully. And these are choice grade, which are gonna be great to cook up low and slow on the smoker. So enough horsing around, let's get these beef back ribs out of the pack. Ow. Not much to do with beef back ribs. These are looking a little fatty. This one's got some nice meat in between the bones. Just take a looky-loo at that. Not bad. A little bit of silver skin kind of there. I'll take that off. Now with such a simple cut, you could go a variety of routes in terms of seasoning. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm going to season 1 rack with Goldie's All-Purpose, and the second rack I'm gonna hit with a 50-50 blend of salt and pepper, and then top it off with Guga's Rub, just for a little added sweetness. Goldie's time. A little on the back side. Got all those savory notes from this Goldie's Rub. It's really gonna pair perfectly with these beef back ribs, and I'm not afraid to go heavy. I want a nice bark built up on my beef back ribs. That's it. Rack number 2. A little S&P. That Guga Rub is gonna bring a little bit of sugar and a little bit of sweetness that the salt and pepper is lacking. And same thing, S&P. And coming back over the top with our Guga Rub for some sweetness. Shout out Guga. These meaty beef back ribs are looking pretty darn good. These beef back ribs are all seasoned up and they're ready for the cooker. So let's go fire up the cooker. Nice. All right, y'all, cooker's rocking at 250. Let's go grab those beef back ribs and get them on. Let's go. All right, y'all, we got some meaty beef back ribs ready to get on the cooker. Let's get them on. Super easy cook. Up and under. Beef back ribs on. Hard to beat some easy smoked beef back ribs. Actually, we're gonna rock these beef back ribs at about 250 degrees. Until they built up a nice bark, we're gonna mop them with a beautiful mop sauce, have some delicious smoked mopped beef back ribs. Until then, let's close it down. Boom. Shakalaka. All right, y'all, we are about 3.5 hours in on these beef back ribs. I'm super curious to see what they look like. We've been running temps at about 250 to 275, kind of getting these done hot and fast, quick and dirty style. Let's take a look. Ooh, yeah, that's some bark that we like. But man, they're getting plump in the middle. I'm gonna spray these down with a little bit of pickle juice just because it's what I have on hand. Let's spritz these down and take a closer look. As you can see, these are looking pretty plump, quite meaty, which I'm super pumped about. Bark is still setting up, not too bad. All right, easy enough. These beef back ribs are looking amazing. Now I promised you guys a mop sauce. I'm gonna be calling this a mop BQ sauce. Works for me. I'm gonna be making this sort of like a traditional barbecue sauce meets a mop sauce. And we're gonna hit these ribs, then we're gonna wrap them, then we're gonna hit them with that mop one more time before we eat them. Is an overnight rest in order? Maybe, we'll see. Will this be better than some prime rib? We about to find out. Boom. Let's go make that sauce. All right, our mop BQ sauce is going to start with some Wagyu beef tallow. That's gonna complement our beef back ribs really well. Next in is a white onion. Woo! 3 cloves of smashed garlic. A couple fistfuls of brown sugar. Let's let that get melty. All right, we're gonna cool this whole thing down with a little bit of white vinegar. About the same amount of apple cider vinegar. And now we can start adding a bunch of fun stuff. A whole bunch of ketchup. Some Leroy and Lewis mustard barbecue sauce. Why add mustard when you can add all of this flavorful goodness? Some Frank's Red Hot Wings going in. Some Sweet Baby Ray's just for that classic barbecue flavor. A little paprika, just for some color. A little red chili flake for a little spiciness. Finish it off with a little S&P. That's salt and pepper for y'all. This is looking like a cross between a barbecue sauce and a mop sauce, that's for sure. Mmm, got some twang, got some sweetness, got some bite. It's missing one thing though. It wouldn't be a mop BQ sauce if we didn't add a little crisp Canadian Pilsner. Ooh, yeah, just a little. And as always, reserve a little on the side. Let's let all that come together. Then we'll go mop our beef back ribs. And I just made this using whatever I had in my pantry. It's turning out to be a pretty tasty mop BQ sauce. All right, y'all, about 4.5 hours in on these beef back ribs. Let's mop them down with our mop BQ sauce. Not quite a mop, not quite a barbecue sauce. Yeah, just hear that sizzle. Smelling good, looking good. After an overnight rest, these beef back ribs are ready to slice into. Now you don't need to rest your beef back ribs overnight, but I finished up this cook pretty late last night and just wanted to hold them until the morning. So after about a 12-hour rest, let's see if these beef back ribs could hold up to that kind of resting. Ooh, that bone fell out. Now let's paint these up with a little bit more of that mop BQ sauce. Not too shabby. Now that all of our beef back ribs are all sliced up, some of them are meatier than others. Some of them ended up with not much meat. Let's give them a shot. This tastes really familiar. Nice and saucy. It tastes like a beef rib, almost mixed with like a pork rib. Very interesting. It doesn't have any of that prime ribby kind of flavor. That mop sauce is thick, it's sweet, it's a little tangy, a little mustardy. These are just cute little party snacks at this point. A little crispy edge right there. Yo, those crispy edges are where it's at. I think I figured out what this reminds me of. If you follow Chud's Barbecue, which I'm sure you do, he had a whole adventure to Chili's with Joe Yim and Jeremy Yoder, and he said that like the Chili's ribs are a very like 90s way of cooking things. This has that sort of 90s vibe where ribs are just kind of slathered in sauce. Even though this has some great smoke flavor, you get a lot of flavor from that sauce. And it's just kind of that nostalgic sort of rib kind of flavor. This does not have that prime rib flavor. It has more of just a smoky beef rib, saucy kind of vibe going on. And I'm all about it. Yeah, make a few of these, super quick and easy. Can you see that fat render? Smoke ring? Wow. It almost tastes like Kansas City burnt ends, where you got like the bark, the smoke, heavily sauced, a little on the tender side, but who's gonna complain about tender beef ribs? These superior Angus beef back ribs are so good, I just can't stop. A little niblet there. This really has that Kansas City burnt end, Chili's baby back ribs vibe going on. This kind of just reminds me of some simple backyard grilling. That Mop BQ sauce be killer. Yeah, we got the ribs from the beef back, and I'll turn my hat back. Get yourself a couple racks, and these make a perfect snack. A nice bark on there, super tender, smoky. That mop sauce takes it to the next level. Thank y'all for tuning into Harry the Horse Barbecue. I really appreciate you checking out this video. Now, beef back ribs kind of fly under the radar when it comes to barbecue, but these are super simple, relatively on the cheap side, and you can cook them up and feed a whole bunch of people. Who doesn't want to mess around with the bony backside of a prime rib? Make sure you subscribe to the channel below. I know you want to do it and it helps me out a ton, so just hit that subscribe button below. You know we got some crispy edges on these beef back ribs, so go and leave a like on this video. Leave a comment down below if you've tried beef back ribs. Make sure you hit that notification button so you get notified every time we're posting new content. And you can follow me on Instagram at Harry the Horse Barbecue. Tag me so I can see what y'all are cooking. It really inspires me to get outside and cook. And with that being said, there's only one more thing, y'all. This one is going straight to the horse's mouth. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.